what are some of the most profound and long-lasting impact of the pandemic upon humanity from your point of view?
对我来说，新冠疫情像一个放大镜，把我们过去几十年、上百年，甚至200-300年人类文明的种种问题，都充分地暴露出来。
And we have the challenge of COVID, which, because it seems so threatening, leads to individual nation states to wish to have a national response and close up their borders. So here is a challenge. Globalization has come. It certainly has not gone, but there are great fears about the consequences of transnational disaster and migration. These are enormous challenges to us, and the politicians have not found a solution.
其实很多危机在疫情之前就已经深刻的存在着，只不过疫情更加的加深了这样的一种不均衡哈。
Some of them relatively rising because of their increasing their productivity each year more than others. Some of them falling back and declining, not yet catastrophic. We are avoiding great power war, but we are aware that we are now in a multipolar world and that shifts are still occurring. This is a great power system of rise and fall which exists and was existing even before COVID came along. So I would always assume that there will be tensions between a rising power and its ambitions and its feeling that now its turn has come. It should be treated more equally than when it was a second-class nation on the one hand, and the tensions of a number one great power and its culture when it feels that it is starting to decline. A great power in decline gets very restive, gets quite jealous.
因为我们在谈到这个中国的历史上的王朝的时候，我们有的时候会习惯于把它也称为帝国。中国历代的王朝，当然也包括我们现代国家形态的这个中国，实际上从来不是安培啊，对，因为它从来不是外向扩张的。
What I think is important is how nationalism, which is a global force, tends to appropriate certain elite civilizational traditions and makes them marks of identity. And so that is how we can think of the idea of clash of civilizations. It's really a national product rather than an ancient thing parading like that in the modern period, unchanged. I think these are all nationalisms that do it.
中国常常被看成是一个社会主义国家，社会主义国家更强调意识形态，但在国际关系领域当中，现在的美国和西方国家对意识形态的重视超过了中国。在中国国际领域里面，中国常常说不同社会制度、不同这个都可以共存，反而是这个在另外一个世界里面讨论自由民主的这个讨论当中，反而变成国际关系的一个新的凝结点。这个是到底是意识形态冲突还是文明冲突？这也可以认真的思考。也就是这一套意识形态冲突背后到底有没有其他的文明要素？这个也可以去讨论。